Greetings, everyone. This is Joanna. Thank you for tuning in. And today we wanted to do a beautiful sacred ceremony for this 0404 experience. These are, today is a 444 day. So we're really excited to co-create today. And just closing out a few windows. Thank you. And what a beautiful day. Some beautiful, profound epiphanies that we've been moving through lately. The biggest information for energetic updates is that we're all shifting to be amplified and inspired to co-create from our divine soul blueprints, to really start inspiring each and every one of us to soulfully connect at that soul level and co-create through our excitement, through our passions, through the center of that love that we are as source creator. And so I've been visualizing being that center of love that they suggested the other day, that my team's on Holy Source Creator was suggesting, so that we release that being in that center of love allows us to truly experience unconditional love, unconditional trust and faith in who we are as spirit. And why that's so important is because we've talked about it for so many of our offerings and shows, is that because of what our planetary experience is moving through, these profound purging and co-creations of releasing the densities of timelines, not only from this earth and other earth timelines, but all of our galactic lifetimes as well. As a collective of souls, we're allowing ourselves to release a lot of trauma throughout the karma and the Akashic templates and the psyche templates that we come through. And so a lot of what we're perceiving on our earth are those experiences through the energies. And so what we experience as an energetic vibrational being are those releases of energies, and why they feel so traumatic and dense. I'm speaking from an empathic, crystalline perspective. It's been really intense to move through the energies, and that's okay. So what we wanted to offer is, again, the reminders of that daily self-care is so important. Being outside with Gaia is really, really important, so that we ground ourselves in the vibrations of the frequencies and the templates that we're co-creating new. And so what that means is that we're having to really master our experiences moment for moment in that center point. Remember that we've talked about that infinity. And that center point allows us that most expansive potentiation of anything. And so that neutrality really allows us that unfathomable balance of, wow, I can see from everything, whether it's unfolding in the collective, to perceive it, to discern, and then choose from this center point on the most expansive choice that you have as a co-creator with source. So that's why neutrality is so important. Not to be in that state of either or, because that or, we say that as a perhaps positive, loving source experience, if you will. It's all source. But that experience can't be had until we see the perspective and the outlay and the overlay from that grander, higher perspective of all that is. And this is where that soul passion really comes into play. To be in that center point, to be in that neutrality, allows us to really connect at a soul level. What are my passions creatively? We have inklings of it throughout our life. And as we release the densities and the layers, then we get to feel, wow, I really have this passion. But because we're at where we are right now as a collective, and we have the potentiation of great consciousness, expansiveness, that expansiveness only comes when you're sitting in that neutral space. Because that is expansive right there. We can see out of all that is potentiated right now, how we can fan out. And that is that crucible just before that fan out. Every choice that we make creates that new pathway and timeline potentiation. So that's why it's really important to create our stillness and that presence and that center point of who we are with source. Just that presence, just being present, allowing the presence to fill you. In that presence without your mind running off. And it takes practice, because you're constantly pulling your mind and your consciousness back to your heart and your center. That's how you continue to remain your neutrality. And then you're training your body not to react through that fight or flight, through the chemicals and the sensory reactive experiences that occur through that psyche template that we've often talked about, through those experiences of your bodies reacting to all the density that's being released and purged from the earth and from the collective. So it's really important, more than anything right now, is not to react from that fight or flight space, and just be neutral and allow those energies to flow and live through you. And not to judge it, to allow your experience and to allow your awakening of that. Because that's when you drop to your center point with source and say, okay, well, how do I want to choose to co-create with what I know now? You can only know that if you're seeing it from the highest perspective from neutrality, not judging anything or any one experience, because we're all moving through it as a whole. And it is threaded within all that is that we've ever experienced, our galactic timelines, our earthly timelines, and all that we've been as a consciousness of source. There are some of us that have come to not only initiate and inspire from the challenges, but to also heal those karmic timelines from other planets and from our DNA, from the third to the fifth dimensional DNA that we've talked about as well. So there's so much going on. That's why it's so amazing. But what we wanted to talk about today is a very special day. It's the 444 activation of energy codes. My teams have been activating me all week, and I've had profound fogginess in my head. I feel as if I'm not here or there or anywhere, and it's been a real, for me, I'm just speaking personally, and just personally being an empath and a crystalline child, that the past 3 months have been incredibly challenging for me to move through, with the energies from our planet being discharged and purged and from the collective. And it's been a really challenging process in mastery to center and create my own direction with source and where I want to take those things. So I can see the benevolence and the benefit of those experiences, because it truly allows us to understand how we can be there for our collective, how we can heal what we've been through, and how we can heal our traumas that we've been through and created, and how we can have even a more deeper respect and reverence for Gaia, who's watched us, supported us, and honored us through every one of our lifetimes in a crucible, planetary experience right now, in which we are at that center point to create this new direction of which and how we want to create our world to look and feel. And so that neutrality, that we've talked about so many times is important, because it also guides us and directs us at that soul level. How do I want my new earth to feel and look like? And there are moments, especially with the full moon that was happening yesterday, there was an absolute feeling of tension in the celestial alignments that we're all moving through as a galactic body, as a universal body. There's intensities for sure. And so those light workers that are awake and are, assisting, holding space for the planet and co-creating these new templates of consciousness, it's really important for us to really take and honor that mastery, own it within ourselves, and really ground and anchor the leadership that we each have come here for. To honor that these are the fanning out of karmic vibrations that we're all here to experience, that we're here to express and explore as they are being transmuted. That's really important, because as these purgings come forward, the energies that are being bombarded from and without source, Gaia, our collective, they're all being transmuted into higher frequencies of potential co-creations. The mastery comes in which moment for moment for moment, when we feel those intensities and we feel those dynamic frictions, because frictions is that center point through which the discordant energies of what was to what can be. So that friction is needed. That friction allows us to say, okay, I'm experiencing friction and discordance. How can I relax into it and allow myself to raise in my perspective, so that I can choose and see from the highest vantage point as a master how I can just move next, if you will, or co-create my reality from this friction. Because it's from that friction that we truly call in the depths of our profound mastery of all that we've come with. We've come with these great gifts and skills, but they can't be activated until we're experiencing that friction. The most darkest, deepest, densest experience that we say as definitions, but we're only saying that because we don't know how else to explain it. Because I certainly have never experienced in an emotional perspective and an energetic perspective what I've gone through the past year, in varying degrees of experience that have not been, that have been the most challenging of my life. You know, and those are the emotional experiences that are threaded from all timelines of experience that we get to choose in that moment of neutrality. I'm one with Source. There is nothing that can harm me. As Source said, be the nucleus of that cell of love. Nothing can harm you. You're one with me. But it's those egoic fears that are on this side of that infinity quantum experience that say, I've got to protect myself. I'm in fight or flight. I've got to do this and all that, because the outer environment is shooting you those energetic triggers for your body to interact. And then the mind kicks in, the lower mind kicks in to say, you've got to get safe, you've got to do all this stuff. And then that starts that roller coaster of interactivity between your multidimensional bodies. And it doesn't have to. That mastery has to calm, breathe and center, create presence and stillness. There was just something in my field that just said, okay, we're going to center now. And that's mastering all of your consciousness. I'm in charge of my consciousness. I am in charge of my bodies. I am one with Source. And I won't infuse with the chaos. I am going to center and I'm going to be still. And then I get to choose. I choose to create from the positive frequencies of how I can visualize, affirm, co-create in a multidimensional way what I choose to experience. And it's really important that we use all of our Christed tools at this time, because it allows our bodies to simulate this new reality we're creating. Because remember, we create from the vibration first. So that center point and that neutrality allows you to choose the vibration of your highest for your soul's benevolence of what you're here to co-create with Source. Sometimes it has to be you're just being present for whatever is unfolding, especially if you're living with others, because you can't control the environment. You can, on everybody's behalf, you can set your vibration, your intention for your vibration. And as you do so, it's a constant harmonization, because everybody within the house and within the home is also harmonizing and moving through their own, paths of direction. But it can only do so in the most fluidic way if we're neutral. It can't do it if we're on full drive wanting to co-create and manifest. And that's been my biggest lesson, because I felt as a light worker coming here that I had to, control the environment for everybody and make everything right for everybody. And, many empaths and crystals feel those energies, but we're here not to do that. We're here to own our own unique power of empowerment and sovereignty, and to also set that vibrational code vibration so that others understand their sovereignty with Source. That's it. To inspire, empower, and encourage everyone's unique sovereignty with Source. And so I was given a profound channel this morning from the Councils of Light that I'm going to put in writing, because it's going to become something that I'll be working with, and as a part of my new mission. That's what we started talking about. We wanted to do some codes, and we wanted to do some sound coding for the Christic vibration, and we've called it all of the heavenly councils and all of the beautiful Hathors and the Arcturians and the Pleiadians to help with our codes and our sounds. And on this very special day, we wanted to create that ceremony, that ceremony activation of harmonizing and neutralizing and bringing calm and gentleness and serenity for our oneness with Source. So these codes and these sounds will be to inspire this neutral space, this oneness with Source, with all that is. And they were showing me this morning that you can be in the center of chaos, as many have explained, and be of it but not a part of it. So be in the world but not of it. And that's allowing yourself to create that sanctuary within, harmonize that sanctuary within, and just hold space for who you are. In allowance, not having to feel as if you're responsible or fixing anything that you see on the outside, but just holding your space is really, really, really masterful co-creating. And it's really hard for an empath and a crystal, and one that's been brought up in a lot of dysfunction, because you feel like you have to fix everything for everybody all the time. And so it's really stepping in your mastery just to allow all paths to unfold, all dynamics to unfold, because it's not our responsibility to control anyone's path on their soul's journey and fix it or correct it. It's just not. And that takes a big part of our soul work, is to step in and say, you know, when I work with my kids, I always ask for their souls and their soul's higher self and my soul's higher self and the highest counsels of light, so that I'm not overstepping my boundaries of sending light, and whatever it is that I need. My teams also know if it's something I need to approach or act on, they send it to me in my dreams. So we have a code of way of working when it comes to my children and those that I'm here to specifically help and take action on. Then I'm sent information in a certain way. But it's important that as light workers, we understand that every soul has its own unique story, and it's not for us to jump in and take over and direct them into how we think it should go, because we have no idea. We're not source as far as that is concerned, and that's soul's unique sovereign desire. It might be completely opposite of what we've come here for, and that's often the case with family members. They've come to be that opposite representation, that traction and friction point for us. They've signed on for that role, you know, and that's why it's easier through healing to let go of that, because we know how honored they are for doing that for us, you know, so that we can see from our highest vantage point, wow, you took on that really traumatic role for me. You know, I thank you in such great regard. And that's why doing those those daily self-care and the life reviews and the life reflections really help you, you know, really let go of the pain, you know, and the honoring of those beings in your life that have taken on those big roles, because you were the one that didn't want that role. You've played that role in other lifetimes, but now you've come to master and transcend that, or shift and expand, you know. So it's not always an upward thing. We want to see this as a 360-degree expansiveness, because we're all souls, we're all one. So it's not, we're getting away from defining anyone being before us as separate from us, or why we've come to learn the lessons that we have, because we're a one cell body of God expanding through one another, through the perspective that we see. And they gave me an inspiration this morning, is that remember that each moment is a new moment to reunify in the glory of Source, in the glory of God, in the glory of Spirit, the universe, the Creator, omnipresent, of the Holy Mother and the Holy Father, however we define the Creator of all things. And each moment that we may feel what it's felt for me is that it's felt like this taffy that just keeps pulling. And as this taffy keeps pulling, my multidimensional allness feels as if I'm being pulled to the most maximum that I could ever be pulled in, of polarity and duality. And it's felt so uncomfortable. It's such a great discomfort that I could not put into words, because that pulling and that stretching of polarity is one that the physical body, through that psyche template, what we've come to transcend, as we've said, each experience only knows itself as that experience. That's it. It doesn't know about the other things that it's threaded and attached with. That's why we have the reactions that we do. And why right now that neutrality tool can help you transcend all of those physical interactions and activations of fight or flight that the psyche template will trigger, keep triggering you, you know, because it hasn't been trained into the new way of being. So that's our job as masters. We are now mastering and retraining and training into higher vibration of how to behave through our whole multidimensional allness. Our physicality, our mental body, our emotional body, our etheric body, all of our sensory perceptions in and out, our brains are being completely rewired. And what I said, those activations were that I was going through this week, are the new codes of the DNA that have been now activated for these new soul missions, that soul passion. And so what they showed me this morning was, you know, being in that cellular center and understanding that in every new moment you have that reunification every moment, not just on times of great crisscrossing of, you know, now ascension activations or DNA activations. Every moment you're given that opportunity to reunify a source. That doesn't matter what's happening on your outside peripheral or in the field that you can feel and sense, but to reunify in this now moment out of state of presence and say, I'm reunifying in my glory with Source. Turn to Source just through your intention. And this is really, really important. As one gets turned on to their subtle bodies, and many are experiencing this now in our collective, but the teachings aren't out there for the mass to know about it, and why so many are reacting in perhaps negative, destructive, or aggressive ways, because they don't know how else to interact and react and behave. They don't understand that the spirit has another response mechanism. Through the understanding, through the wisdom, through becoming neutral, through the breath, through the honoring, the most do not understand, and it causes their bodies to go into shock, vibrational shock, because it doesn't know. That's when it detaches itself, because that's all it knows how to do. It's going into that traumatic shutdown, and it reacts in ways that don't necessarily serve the higher self and the soul. So that's when that coming neutral is so important. And in that neutralization, we reunify. And Source has told me, because I've been in those conversations, I said, well, okay, with what I'm going through right now, what I'm seeing and experiencing and feeling my bodies, how do I feel better in what I'm experiencing? And Source just simply said, return to me. Return to me in all of your consciousness. And it's a vibrational feeling that I can't explain, but it comes through your intention first. So it's that inner communication that's constantly harmonizing in all moments. You're harmonizing, you're releasing, letting go, harmonizing, releasing, letting go, and it's constant. You don't have to be aware of it. But in every new moment, our planet is purging. Every new moment, our collective is purging. Every new moment, we're getting news from the collective, and our collective is acting and reacting in a different way. And then so those that feel it, like us, are clearing the emotional energies of our fear from our collective. So through the overloads that I was getting, I was here to help clear. It was just overwhelming for me. And I said to Source, I said, well, how do I feel better? How do I move through this? And then on top of, the other energies that I'm threaded with, also going through their releases and going through their, processes and, their levels of understanding of what they're going through. And I'm feeling it all. And it was just bringing yourself to center, return to Source. That's it. And you just feel this beautiful, it's like Source just cradles you in this beautiful hug and this beautiful harmonization of liquid love. And you just feel like, wow. It's all you have to do is surrender into this reunification and glory of Source. Because when you turn to Source, everything is taken care of. You don't have to fix, you don't have to create, you're just surrendering until that peace and calm override everything else. Because you're bringing yourself back to the 0 point. You're bringing yourself back to your birth with Source. That birth with Source, make no mistake about it, is your glory. That glory is your beauty in all moments to co-create as Source, is all that is. But we think that it's more complex than it is, and it doesn't have to be. We only explain it in the way that we do because there's so much going on in any one moment that those that are aware of it, those that are empathic, those that are telepathic, those that are, have been light workers for so long, they can have these extra perception and extra sensory teachings that can allow them, if they're with clients and they're with others, that they can begin to explain what's really going on at a multidimensional level and really return to the simple neutralization and the reunification and glory with Source. And then all gets taken care of. Because you get to see from that glory with Source, oh, everything is okay, I'm safe. Nothing can harm me, I'm in the center of that love. And that's the center that they were explaining to me, that cellular, that nucleus, you are the center of love. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that. It only feels that way and perceives that way because our world is in such flux of letting go of eons of timelines and trauma and karmic from all our collective. We have 7 billion people on our planet, and that 7 billion people come with the Akashic energies that we're all clearing. So you can imagine why we're moving through what we're moving through. And so not to feel the fear of it, but to allow its process in moving through each and every one of us. Those of us that have come forward to clear those energies, we have to take that greater daily self-care. Because we're here because we can do that. We're here because we've signed on to do that. We can understand it at that level. And so what they were showing me is that just surrendering to that center point and just allowing that, I surrender fully to the divine will. I surrender fully to the glory of Source. And you're returning all things to perfection. You're returning all things to the dynamic potentiality that you have to create with Source. And then it all becomes very simple and clear. And of course, it always sounds so easy. But again, it's allowing yourself to know that you have the mastery. Through breath, you can slow time down, because time is only our illusion. And it's through our breath that we just bring everything to this now moment. It doesn't matter what's happening on the outside peripheral, and we just bring all of our consciousness just to this now moment, and I surrender to the glory of Source. Not my will, divine will. All things become neutral, all things become one. And you can feel it, like you can just feel as if this, all timelines, all aspects of you are being brought to this one now moment, because that's where your most highest intelligence, your wisdom, your love exists now. So as masters, especially through what we're going through as a collective, the most important teaching tool right now is the presence of now. And when we're in the presence of now, all things are brought to neutrality. You're then able to align simultaneously with the highest self that you are at that moment, because we're moving so fast. And we're sometimes jumping and shifting timelines so that we can, as a soul, help as best we can, because we wanted to do that. We knew that we had the skills to, and that's what we do sometimes. One day we'll wake up in a timeline that really needs us, and we'll feel a lot more dense that one day than we did the day after. That's how we're moving back and forth now. It will get to the point, from what I've seen, that we won't recognize the difference. We'll know that we're just fluidic, movable spirit moving back and forth, doing what we're here to do for creation, that creation model. And so what we wanted to do in that is we wanted to just to create some tones and some sounds, some sacred ceremony sounds on this beautiful activation day, and just align with our soul's highest potential in neutrality. And so if there's anything in your field or your bodies that is needing to be released and removed, just allow yourself to feel like this beautiful golden sun. And this sun is just as it radiates out to creation, the center of your being is a beautiful sun of creation. It's that sacred geometry of God, Source, Mother, Father, the golden white light, and just radiate those energies that are no longer, needing to be with you, and just have this energy just gently transmute whatever it's in its way and push it out to be transmuted by the Source Creator. So imagine the beautiful golden soup of Source that transmutes anything that you release and let go through your breath. So on the inhale, activate through unconditional love. I am unconditionally loved, and I'm reunifying with Source. Unconditional love, I'm in my oneness and glory with Source. Unconditional love, I return to glory with Source. Unconditional love, I'm pure in alignment with Source. So whatever affirmation you want to use on that in-breath is always aligning you with Source. The exhale is releasing what doesn't serve. That exhale is giving back to the earth, back to the soup of Source, those energies to be transmuted naturally, that will alchemically be shifted back into your vibration at a higher frequency, because you're giving it permission to be released. You're releasing the stagnancy, you're releasing whatever is stuck in the fields to think that I had to correct it and fix it. Sometimes it's just okay just to release it and let it work through its process, because we are all processing. We are the vessels of processing. So we don't have to get stuck on what do I have to process and what I don't. Oftentimes it's releasing and letting that part of it do its job. So we're constantly, I will release and transmute what I can, and I'm going to release what else. And so these sounds and tones will assist. They'll assist us in, releasing and letting go those energies. And then also too, set the intention to receive the codes, to receive your codes, to inspire that new soul's mission, to in that oneness and in that reunification of glory, activate the codes within your DNA so that you're on that sure path of your flow. Flow is the best energy that we have, because that's how we are moving into. It's not a matter of my old way of co-creating was pushing and manifesting. No, it's about opening up all that you are as the vessel and allowing energies to move through you. And it's through your excitements that you call those reflections in. So life will be a constant reflection of where you're at vibrationally. It's a reflection. So your neutrality is this center mechanism that co-creates that reflection. What reflection do I want to see today? So you're a harmonizing reflection, co-creator with source. I mean, that's really how all consciousness really works, is where you're vibrating right now. What reflection am I seeing? So just soak within your beautiful divine and sacred space, and just feel your feet, firmly pressing upon the sands and the soils of Gaia, and our pillar of light is being opened through our intention. We're calling in the highest councils of heavenly light. We're calling in the highest Christ councils and the collectives of our healing teams and our soul teams. We're calling in the Holy Mother, Father, Gaia, and all the elementals and the Elohims to join us now. We're calling in Lord Michael to clear and protect our space as we're creating this beautiful sacred energies through the Hathors, through the Pleiadians, through the Arcturians, through the angels of sound and tone, to co-create this beautiful sacred space through sounds and tones, clearing what no longer serves. And may these sacred tones and sounds activate the bodies and activate the DNA, activate all that we are as multidimensional beings in new ways, so that we're always aligning with our highest potential of who we are with Source, the reunification of our glory with Source. And in every new moment, we're releasing what no longer serves, the beliefs, the limitations, the doubt, the mistruths, the ill truths, anything that is holding us back from our divine plan with Source, and being that beautiful center point of just neutrality, just to experience our oneness with Source. And in this neutrality, we see and we understand that all things have a place. So if we're observing that all things have a place, and we're not judging it as not fitting or not belonging, then we're not putting ourselves on either side of that spectrum. We're allowing all things have its place. It's not for us to judge it. All things have its place. So you can be safe in knowing that in that space of all that is all that is, it's required. Then you're taking yourself away from the responsibility to fix or to change it, and also you're releasing yourself from that judgment. I'm already clearing. And so you're allowing yourself to already move the energies through this sacred space. Thank you, Heavenly Councils of Light. And we're asking the angels of sound and tone and angels of the heavens to bless us with the Holy Creator frequencies. We ground all that we are through the root chakra. We're grounding our oneness with Gaia. We're grounding in our appreciation and our gratitude and our divine excitement to be with her in our sacred triad, so that we're amalgamating and we're harmonizing. We're glorifying our soul's blueprint with her. We're glorifying our soul's blueprint, and we're activating our heavenly blueprint with the heavens, that sacred triad. We're calling our higher selves and our souls forward through our breath. Our higher selves and our souls, please come forward and live through us in this now moment, so that we are guided on the highest potentiation for our highest soul's frequency. And our ego, please observe at this point. Any aspects that are not serving our highest and our best may be released through the sacred space to the councils and the beings that are protecting and guiding us in this moment, so that only the frequencies of the highest that love us unconditionally remain, so that our higher selves and all beings, and we begin to create this sacred space. We begin to create this sacred 5D space, this sacred healing space through sounds and through tones and through our intentions. This is my sacred space. I intend this space to be sacred. I intend the highest frequencies of my beingness to allow this flow to occur. From the heavens and from above, all that is, the highest universal energies flowing to and through me. Washing and bathing and cleansing and reunifying and recreating those cells to be the highest Metatronic and Christic cells through codes and through sounds and through light and vibrations of color. And from the holy creators of the Holy Mother, Father, and the heavenly councils, we call in our highest intention to open within this flow, so that the vessel of all that we are be bathed and cleansed and release all that needs to be released as we activate all that we are in this beautiful sacred number vibrational day, this beautiful sacred spring energizing, as we're sowing the seeds of who we are in new creations. We're opening up the sacred soul of all that we are through the divine sacred heart. I am unconditionally loved. I am one with Source. I am the glory of Source, and I am one with Source. I co-create with Source in all moments, and I have faith and I have trust in all moments that I am one with Source, as I follow my excitement, as I follow my passions, as I follow my soul's blueprint through my excitement. Your soul's blueprint will always be followed and always be activated as you act in your truth and your authenticity as a Holy Christ. As you act within the truth of all that you are, is beauty and joy and the sacred child, to explore and express and experience who you are, to have fun being who you are, to explore the vastness of who you are, to explore the glory of who you are, and releasing all worry. Release all worry. I release all restrictions. I release all attitudes and beliefs that were holding me back. I release all less than and lack. And I call in the highest codes from the highest heavens so that I may allow all that I am to be co-creating in the highest frequencies of Holy Mother and Holy Father through my own Christhood. And may these sounds activate the highest potentiation of all that we are as pure love and pure joy and pure blessings of holy light, so that we become the glorified legacy of light, each and every one of us, in our oneness. In our joy to create, I call forward the highest frequencies of love and light through sound and through tone. May we play in sacred grace. May we play in sacred joy. May we play as the sacred children of the Holy Christ. Sacred earth and sacred heaven and sacred vessel of holy light. And we thank you, bringing heaven and earth and the vessel of all that we are as one glorified, harmonic movement of joy in our oneness with Source. And we thank you, dear lighted ones, for communing with us today and aligning with us today. And we wanted to pull a card. We're going to do our sacred tarot after this for a different video, but we wanted to pull a card from our beautiful Sacred Earth Oracle. It's a beautiful oracle deck that I call on when I'm moving through multidimensional transitions. And so just know that those codes and activations, because we're also working with the full moon energies, we're working with the 444 activation timelines right now. So just be gentle with yourself. Spend as much time outside as you can. Drink lots and lots and lots of water and get lots of rest. I've been having so much sleep lately. My body has really, really needed it, and drinking lots and lots of water. Because the cells are regenerating. The cells are actually, it's not recapitulation. You've given me that word before, but they're actually, our cells are recreating in new ways. So it takes a lot off of the body to move through. And so we thank you. Nice to be with you today on this beautiful, magical day. Thank you, Source Creator. Oh, 2 cards just popped out. Look at these beautiful cards. We were just talking about them. Balance and shift. We can see the beautiful stories in this. And so we'll do this one first because it requires that we balance before we create that shift. We can feel the shift before and we can feel the shift after, but this balance is that center point. This is the dragonfly, if you will, but the center point that we create and understand that there's various aspects that we're always playing. We're always playing these various aspects, and the ground is moving beneath us, and we're receiving all of these energies and these symbolisms and the codes from above. And the dragonfly is representative of the heavenly breath that moves in and out of our magical life. And so there's this aspect of this pole that's between the two aspects of the self. This can also harmonize as the male and the female aspects of who we are, that perfection of that mother-father frequency of all that we are moving within. And any one moment, we're always harmonizing between the male and the female, the mother and the father, and the son and the daughter, and how the earth is a part of this movement. And you can see the ground breaking beneath them because it's a time of great mastery that we're requiring. In what moment can I just harmonize in all that I am as a master, using my male strength and my will to call in my neutralization, to call in my ability to receive and allow the flow as the divine feminine. So important right now. And in doing so, we allow ourselves the shifts that's required. And the shift is the breaking out of the cocoon. It's breaking out of the vessel. It's allowing that the liquid and the omnionic fluid, the fluid that's in the sac of where you're releasing. And I've seen the last couple of weeks, I've seen myself in a sack and breaking free as the butterfly that I am. And this is why it's felt so uncomfortable to me. It's felt as if, the reality that I'm in is pushing against and not strangling me, but it feels like I've got shoestrings all around me and they're being pulled tighter and tighter. That's because I need to break from it. And there's an ancient story that I was told on my first awakening about the butterfly and the farmer that was in his fruit yard, and he saw this cocoon and this chrysalis of this butterfly trying to break free. And of course, the farmer felt, empathic. Well, I should help that butterfly and break it out for it. And the butterfly just fell to the ground. Its wings weren't ready. And so those of us that are going through profound passion and mission transitions, stepping into a new vibrational offering, if you will, who we are, which are we going to choose ourselves to offer as? What's this new dimensional vibration that is harmonized of the both, but I'm going to be a new version of me. That's what I'm saying. So before this comes forward, are my wings ready? Do I have all the mastery that I have to do this? Do I have that ability to calm and center and master my emotions and master the mind and know that my mind is that tool of co-creation with source when it's done in that fluidic way of owning and honoring who I am as all. So this is why oftentimes we can't rush the process of healing those deep Akashic soul fragment and traumatic wounds, because we'll require that wisdom that helps our wings expand and grow and break out of that chrysalis that's constricting and feeling like such great friction. I felt that great friction because the energies were so dense and were so sad that I've had to not transmute, yes, some, but understand and allow and process. There is wisdom in that, just to allow, as Source was showing me. Come back to glory with me, come back to the reunification with me, and allow all things have its place. You don't have to understand all the time. You don't have to project. You don't have to predict. You don't have to, because that's the ego safety. Am I going to be safe on what's on the other side of this painful process? Well, yes, you always, because you're eternal. But oftentimes we don't see that because we're interacting at that frequency that is fight or flight or egoic survival, right? And we kind of act like this little squirrel outside. We're running around going crazy, trying to find its nut. We don't have to. You just allow. It's that representation. Okay, come back to glory. You're stilling every thought that's in the mind that just wants to go in chaos. No thought. So really practice neutrality. Practice no thought. Practice your centering and your neutrality with God, that glory. Surrender and intend. I'm intending my surrender to glory with God. I'm reunifying into my glory. That glory really means, what I'm getting right now is that all things are perfect, all things are source. You're not the purveyor to fix or change or adjust anything. presence will require, so that you then have the higher wisdom to know how to proceed, or how to allow your soul to guide you. That's more an appropriate perspective. And this is what happens in return. You have that profound, whew, you're being birthed. You're not controlling that birth so much, is that your soul is just allowing you to be, to follow your soul. It's a flow. That's the divine feminine flow. But we've been so accustomed to the divine male, aggressive, manifest, do, as opposed to allowing and being. This is not a doing. Look, that's not doing. That is pure allowance. That's pure flow. That's pure fluidic source. You've done the work. You've allowed yourself to neutralize. You've glorified yourself by the lessons, the life reflection, the understanding of, do I need to fix this and change this, or can I just be within it? That's being within it. Gaining all the mastery you can from just being present within it and holding space. Because that allows you that strength and that glory to say, okay, now I can create, and I'm going to visualize. I'm going to visualize humanity helping humanity. I'm going to visualize these healing centers that will assist the all. But we need to be in this space first. And remember, it's vibration first. This is our shifting vibration. And it's not a forcing. It's not a doing. It's a being. And so that's really profound. And the card that was on the bottom was this one, which is funny, because it allows us to see everything that we've been through. The repetition of every lifetime we've lived in myriad of forms and veils and constructs of all of our lifetimes through humanity, through all of our lifetimes. And this is why this neutrality, we get to see the cycles of the moon, and how these moon cycles and how these activations are so important to our multidimensional structures, because we're flowing like source, so that we can come out of this state of repetition and allow the flow, like the movement of the animals on the earth. They don't have goals or agendas in the doing. They move with the flow of how they're guided in that unification and glory. That glory with source, that glory is who they are. And it requires that sometimes we do have to repeat ourselves to say, okay, well, this isn't working anymore. How can I just be? And then beautiful, what comes next is clarity. That's how we gain the clarity. We gain the clarity of who we are. That glorification is clarity, is it not? And yet at the same time, it means everything and nothing all at once. And this is why we see, this is what's coming to me now, is we see everything and yet nothing at all. And that's the beauty of the allness. That's that 0 point. That's that neutrality. Everything has its place. And every now and moment we get to choose who we want to be as source. That's the love. That's the unconditional essence that we've been gifted. And it takes great, great mastery to surrender the ego mind, eons of patterning, to simply be present, no thought, and allow everything that's happening through the planet just to move in and around you and through you, and not to be stifled, startled, brought down in depression, brought down in fear or worry. Just to allow it. And in that space of glory, you're fully reunified. You feel it all, and yet nothing at the same time, because you're at that 0 point where you get to choose a source. I want to flow my outer best and highest frequency with you, source. I want to sing and I want to dance and I want to co-create with you. And just that perfection of oneness and glory, you create. You create your all. And it will be in moderation. It won't be one or the other. It won't be over more the other. That's where we're learning. That's where our mastery is really coming into practice right now. And I can feel different energies, in the space, and they're pulling at me to react. There's energies in the space that are pulling me to react. And that's when Source says, turn to me, glorify with me. You don't have to react. There will always be those energies in these transitions that we're moving through that will pull on you to react, that will spark that psyche template, fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. And you got to bring it to zero. Just be. That's profound. It's so profound. And you get to feel your greatness within it. And that's when you truly get to see that balance. And you see they're holding from above below. And that's what I was shown this morning in my dream as I was coming. I usually get most of my downloads just before I wake up. I don't usually often remember anything in my dreams just before I wake up. And I saw a beautiful tree of life. And I was given the transparent version so that I could see beneath the tree and above the tree. And so and I've said this for a few weeks now because they've been giving me this vision, because this is how important what our time period is in right now and why that 0 point is so important. Because we're seeing from I love this image of the wings, and we're birthing. That we get to birth our wings from the understanding of our upper and our lower, inner and our outer, how important it is. And we allow ourselves to crystallize with that, to harmonize with that. We become all that is below. We become all that is above. And neither or is judged or separated or fractured, stretched, disassociated. This is what we're really learning. And because this will be a profound teaching that we'll do later on, because I have to put these channels that I got this morning, into an offering that will be of reverence and benevolence to the level that it is being offered in, that we are reunifying with our God self. The God self is the above, if you will, but has always been in the below and all around and all things. We feel it and we sense it and we are one with it in that glorification. That's profound. And that's where I'll leave it. So thank you, dear loved ones. May you muse and be in love with all nature, with all that our planet offers us in our remembrance of who we are in our oneness with all life. And we thank you, each and every one of you, for these beautiful sacred energies. And just give yourself lots of rest and love, and know that you're always with Source, and just surrender into your glory with Source in all moments that you can, and just allow the fullness of you to live through you and honor you in this blessed co-creation of allness.